very much, and so good to be here, especially as this is the warmest place in MadFest. I was absolutely freezing, but now I am warm. So I'm Julia Linehan, I'm the founder of The Digital Voice, and this time 12 months ago I was on stage doing a panel that was, is 5% of female founders enough? What the fuck? That was the session, and I challenged the audience to say I'm going to come back in a year's time with a lot more female founders and see if we've managed to move on from there. The session last year went down a storm, and not just with women, but with men too, because this is in no way a down with men session. In fact, it's much more. We wanted this to be an educational session, an involvement session about celebration and support and how to really move the needle, how to make changes, embrace change and celebrate it. Huge shout out to MadFest, right? For putting their money where their mouth is and having a female leaders bar this year. So for anyone that hasn't been there, we're there all week. It's been insanely brilliant there, and you'd be very welcome, men and women, to join us over the 3 days. So this year, I went huge, I went big, and I thought, I'm not just going to bring you one founder, fuck that, I'm not going to bring you 2 or 3, I'm going to bring you 4 founders, so I'm delighted to welcome to stage Ellie, Piper, Laura, and Katie. Here we go, here we go. So while they get sat down, a lot of what we want to talk about today is the reality versus the dream. It's all about what it takes and what it doesn't take, and also to try and give you all, I'm going to lean around the corner so I can see you, a blueprint of success of how you can all leap and lead. And these 4 ladies are going to be incredibly powerful in what they tell you in the next 18 minutes. First up, can you all introduce yourself, your company, and why you set it up or why you lead? Ellie.
I'm Ellie Edwards-Scott. I'm co-founder of a digital consultancy called The Advisory Collective. I started my I started out on my own 8 years ago. I co-founded The Advisory Collective 6 years ago with my colleague who's somewhere, I think at the Female Leaders Bar, Lisa Monaldo. Why did we do this? Because having been in agencies, having been in network agencies, I saw a gap between innovative technology getting through to agencies and clients. So we bridge that gap, we bring innovative tech to the UK, we help them launch, we help them scale, we help them differentiate.
Perfect, thank you, Ellie. And Ellie is my co-creator alongside Katie of the Female Leaders Bar, so is also going to be on stage throughout the week. So do catch her sessions. Piper.
Yeah, hi everyone, Piper Heitzler. So I started my first company actually back in 2018 as a consultancy as well as an investment vehicle for startups. That was called Stop Making Sense after the Talking Heads album. But then obviously moved to the UK a couple years ago. I was actually looking at leaving my corporate job, more on that later. And ultimately I thought to make my UK outfit, I would make it a bit more serious of a name. So Cheltenham Partners was created, and we're really focused on kind of being an entrepreneurial growth consultancy around digital transformation for all sizes of companies. I also am back in the corporate world though,
as of 4 weeks ago. About going from side to side. So
yeah.
Perfect, thank you, Piper. Katie's just flown in from a very hot climate and didn't bring a coat because she thought it was going to be as hot. Katie.
Yes, it's also super happy to be in the warmest stage in MadFest at this moment in time. So I am the sole founder of a marketing agency which was born to serve marketing agencies, because if you want to pick a sector to work in, pick where all the experts are, where it's hardest to do it. Today, we actually don't just work with other marketing agencies, we also work a lot with MarTech companies. And to answer the question about why did I do it, this is a really boring but true answer, because I didn't want anyone telling me what to do anymore. And I knew I had some good ideas. And that is one of the biggest problems that I see in business, is the layers that you have to jump through to get something done that you know is a good idea. So I guess me having my own business was a good vehicle for me, making my own mind up and doing what I want to do. That's what I'm doing.
I love Katie's enthusiasm. We're going to come back to a lot of that. Laura, coming to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am the co-founder of 2 companies actually. One is called Vertis Media, was founded in 2015. And to be honest, it's an ad tech company. We do contextual advertising. To be honest, the idea was not mine, because I think at the time I was not even imagining, to be possible to be founded in the tech world. So I was one of the co-founders. But then 2 years ago, I had another idea, a company called Frides, which is a platform for brand and creators. And this time I felt the moment was fine, was right. Something had changed since 2015. So just.
So I'm going to stay with you, Laura, because you've been a founder, and now you're actually a new founder. Has it been easier second time round? And I suppose also, what's been the learnings? What have you done differently this time?
Yeah, not easier, because it's always, it's a lot of work. But to be honest, the attitude is different. Because in 2015, to be honest, I was not even disclosing I was a founder of the company, because I had the feeling that, being a female founder, being a mom in the ad tech world was not, which is a very, still today, very, male-dominated industry anyway, was not easy for me. So I was just saying that I was working for the company, not I was the company as well. And then I think the big change has happened recently, because, a bit the COVID and a bit all this, women having conversation about being a founder, being a female founder, not just in tech, but generally being a founder, I think has helped me. And now I am more at ease to disclose, yes, I am the founder. I'm proud, actually, of being a mom, a founder. Yeah.
Perfect. And we're proud of you as well. It's like 2 times over. So good she did it twice. Katie, would you do it all over again?
Would I do it all over? Yeah, definitely. I think for me, running my own business, well, one, I hope, that I am helping other women be brave enough, because the stat that kind of brought us here today is something like 5% of tech and marketing companies in the UK are founded by women. So I strongly believe that needs to change. And I absolutely would do it again, because I think I hope, as well as running a good business and helping my clients, that and I get loads of comments about this on my LinkedIn, because I post an awful lot of content. So if you do want to follow me, Katie Street, I talk about being a female founder, but also about marketing, new business, sales, all that stuff. I hope, and I have seen, in fact, someone tagged me on LinkedIn that I have never met before last week, saying thank you to you, Katie, for talking so much about just fucking doing it, because I've now launched my own business. So yes, I would do it again. And what's more important to me than anything, money or anything right now, is being able to inspire other women.
I think that's so true. And my favourite phrase, as a lot of people know, I always say, is be brave, be bold, be you, and there's never been a better time to lead. Piper, you went from being a founder to corporate to founder to corporate. You've gone both sides. What's the vibe on each? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think it's important to have the balance of both. And I think at different times of our lives, we're looking for trajectories that are straight up, and then there's times where we need a bit more stability because we have other things going on in our life. And I think it's okay to admit that when you're in a growth moment, as opposed to a stable plateau that you need. And going back and forth between being a founder and actually being in a corporate sense gives you a perspective that I think is really unique. Particularly if anybody is looking at becoming a consultant, there is a big difference between strategizing and implementation. And you have to really understand, Katie, you've talked about this too, what is the red tape? What are the limitations that are keeping people from moving forward? And then understanding not only how to consult on the technology or what the project is, but also on the human dynamic of getting interpersonal collaboration to exist. And you really can only understand those nuances when you're in that team and trying to push things through every single day, as opposed to kind of in a outside looking in perspective.
I think as well, just I might add to this before I come to you, Ellie, if anyone is planning on setting up a company or becoming a consultant, can I give you a bit of advice? Power of 3. Have 3 people believe in what you're selling, 3 people that are going to buy what you're offering, or 3 people that are willing to become your clients. Because I see a lot of people doing it that have just 1 or 2, but if you have 2 and you lose 1, you're at risk. So go with the power of 3, just a little bit nugget for me. I'm not here to give nuggets, you guys are. Ellie, I'm always glass half full, and I believe there's never been a better time to be a female leader. Am I delusional?
No, I think you're right. I mean, it's this whole MadFest, these 3 days of trying to riders of the storm, yeah. And I think we have weathered the storm. And as a female founder, as an entrepreneur, especially launching companies into the market during COVID, definitely we weathered a storm, but we rode that storm, and we're still here today. And I think, we are, as women, and obviously there's men in the audience as well, but so many of our skills, our softer skills, if you like, we are adaptable, we're flexible, we're used to managing different things and balancing different things, and those are great qualities to take you into leadership, because when you run your own business, you need to be able to juggle, you need to be able to multitask. However, I've always, we've talked about it before in terms of advice, make sure you can hire the right people to do certain jobs. One of the things that will make you fail as a business is trying to do it all. You can't do it all. Hire an accountant, get someone with legal training in, and then concentrate on the bit that you're good at. So I think there's never been a greater time. I think, more female leaders are out there, the younger generation that are coming in are really looking at it. I mean, to your point, Katie, I have teenagers, and I'm proud that I've got my own business, and they're looking at what I'm doing, and they're thinking, okay, I can do this. So, yeah, there's never a right time. It's like, when is the right time to have a child? Just go for it and just do it.
So the interesting thing is that we were talking about, has there been a better time? And I was all positive and going, it's great. And then Ellie said we were talking about the amount of investment that VCs are putting in female founders. And I'm going to test the audience now. Okay, see what you all think. Is the percentage of money going to female founders from VC funds 50%? Anyone for 50%? Put your hand up. Let's go a bit lower, 40%. Anyone for 30%? 20%. Oh, we got. We got a few at 20%.
A few 20%.
Any hands up if you think it's 10% of money goes to female founders? I'm going to come to Ellie. What's the magic figure?
Well, for female founders, generally it's 5%. And 5%. And for of colour, and I'm looking at Danny, if I'm wrong, don't put me up. I think for female founders of colour, it's something like 0.2%.
0.2%. And that 5% of female is globally. In the UK, it's under 2%, I believe, is the number. So 2%. So we've got to do something about that. I came on stage last year to make a bit of a plea out to more founders, and now I'm going to make another one. VCs, put your money where your mouth is.
But I also want that, Jules. Sorry, I know I'm free.
No. Because I was then going to ask, how do we move the needle?
But let's not stop. Let's not make that stop us. Yes, okay. No. Obviously, you need investment to start your own business. However, investment doesn't need to be hundreds of thousands of pounds. As you say, if you've got a couple of people that believe in what you do, if you've scribbled away some money, you can actually start small and build. So I think, don't wait for investment, because especially at the start, unless you've got proof of concept, you're not going to get that investment.
Is there anything else we can do to help move that needle? Apart from things like the commitments of events like this to do female leaders, Barb?
I mean, I think taking the leap yourself, for anyone that's in here, no matter who you are, we're all ordinary people with extraordinary opportunities, and you've probably developed some sort of expertise over the time that you've been in the industry, and maybe you don't realize what that expertise is, but if you don't, go ask the people that you work with what you are good at. And that'll ultimately help you define for you what your strengths are. And there are so many potential options just to take that aren't necessarily leaving your job full-time today. People are looking for strategy, consultation, just outside resources. I know even in, previously, you could be doing a big pitch and you might want somebody that came from that industry to give that sort of vision. So in the Atomic Habits book, it talks about, James Clear talks about incorporating an identity about it. So if you want to be a founder, an entrepreneur, a self-made woman today, you have to wake up tomorrow morning and think to yourself, how would I act? How would I communicate to other people? What am I putting out on my social media? What am I talking about that maybe create that identity of yourself, maybe even a little bit before you totally believe it. But I would say understand what your expertise is. Understand that there is not much investment. I can tell you the UK government website, I think it was 15 quid to create a company.
Oh, we like to spoil.
And then ultimately the next thing you have to do is hire an accountant. As you said, Ellie, if you are not an accountant, do not spend more than 2 minutes trying to figure out what you should do. Just pick up the phone. I will give you my accountant. He's great. And then you can really just hit the ground running. And I think that you can have that investment in that time, and you'll learn a lot about yourself in the process. And it's okay to fail fast.
Oh, I love that. Definitely learn, fail, test, all of those things. Katie and Laura, I want to come to you, and I've got to say big appreciation for the fact there's a lot of men in the audience here today, because I've been lucky enough to have a lot of men in my life support me, and in different companies and roles, the clients we work with, the men on our team. But I'd love to know, because this is about a blueprint, it could also be a bit of a blueprint for the men as to how they encourage women to lead. Katie, what do you think first, then coming to you, Laura?
Oh gosh, okay. So I would say that probably the reason that I started my own business and I've been successful is probably because I haven't had men support me. I've experienced it the other way around and had quite a lot of misogynistic, I don't know, very male, no offence to, because most men are amazing, but I have experienced some, I'm just going to, can I swear?
Of course you can.
I've had some fucking wankers.
No, I'll go first.
Some absolute wankers who, and men can be horrendous bosses, really rude, love themselves, would take my ideas and position them as their own. And in my personal life as well, my daughter's going to hate me saying this.
Oh God, I've just sworn in front of your daughter. Sorry.
I was fine, she's heard me say it much fun. But her dad went to prison when she was 13 months old, didn't come home till she was 7. So the reason that I've done well and put myself out there is because I'm like, I ain't having these guys beat me. But I do think there's a huge role for men to play in terms of changing attitude, being more supportive, you know, stopping that misogynistic. You know, I've had guys touch my leg in meetings. Had one, I used to work. I know exactly. You're doing the face this was my face. I once went into a meeting because I used to work in marketing for a drinks brand and met a nightclub owner, and he tried to undo my bra. Like, this is real stuff that I have had happen to me. So I would say a big part of me wanting to be successful is, sadly, I know there's lots of you nodding your heads out there, lots of other women have had this, and it puts you off. It makes you feel awkward in meetings, and it absolutely needs to stop. So if there's one thing I can ask, like, guys, don't do that. Not that I think any of you guys would in here, but yeah.
I think even the fact that there's so many men in here supporting, I feel like that's a step forward. And all the men that have come into the sessions this morning, we've only got, the time just goes so quickly, so I'm going to rattle through some questions very quickly. Ellie, for you, how can women lean into networks to get support? Because it's here, there and everywhere.
Yeah, networks, I mean, you know, there's a saying, your network is your net worth, but networks is so important. I think, you know, look and see who are like-minded people. LinkedIn is a valuable tool that we all use, and there are so many opportunities out there, you know. Put certain search words in that resonate with you and your brand, and start building up that brand. Just on that, about the male, you know, I believe it's good to have male allies, sponsors, especially when you're in a company and helping you through that journey. So for the males in here, you know, it's looking at your team lead, your team leads, you're looking at your colleagues and saying, how can I help them? How can I advocate for them when I'm in meetings, and just actually bolster as well. I think that's really important.
Thank you, Ellie. Laura, just I want you to know if there's any steps you can recommend of how women can thrive and lead from the front, the little steps they can take, or any advice, any nuggets.
Any nuggets? Just take the risk. So, because sometimes I think this is preventing us. Make sure you know that you're good, and you know we should be encouraged to be more confident. This is something that should be like done at an earlier level. You know, I think in schools, this is the issue, that we don't have so many women in business and in tech. It's because just already in primary school or in secondary school, no one is really encouraged. This is what I see here, because we're talking about being a founder, like 5% only. But if we look at the industry in general, it's just 20% is women. It's up. So it's important to have like conversations like this, and networking, and mentorship as well.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask one more question, then I've got to do my quick fire round. I just have to. Piper, for you, this whole session, these 3 days, is about riders of the storm. If you've had a challenge you've overcome, how did you do it, and what was the piece of advice you'd give for doing it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a challenge, but in the spirit of kind of vulnerability, I think. You know, most recently, I started Cheltenham Partners because I was losing a little bit of that inspiration in my day job. My company had gotten acquired. I didn't really know where I was going to be sitting after the fact, and I thought, I need some outside projects just to draw some inspiration from, and then decide, you know, I'll figure out what I want to do here at this company. And ultimately, I ended up getting made redundant in that process. And I mean, I've been told you should never do a deal when you're on your heels. Remember that one? But all of a sudden, it felt like all this confidence I had leaning into my consulting angle was just dropped out of me as like I think we've all gone through this, especially during COVID, like that feeling of like, oh my gosh, they don't want me anymore. I think it really takes a toll on your personality and like your identity and like, what's my story now? Now it was kind of like a plus time thing, and now this definitely needs to be a full-time thing. And I think the challenge of just really navigating what to do with that story. And so I got some great advice that I highly recommend for everybody else. I was told to get a post-it note stack, and to write every single thing that I was proud of on an individual post-it note and put it up on the wall. And I ultimately had an entire wall filled with hundreds of post-it notes, from little things like learning how to give constructive feedback to taking hard feedback, up to an amazing project that got signed, or a great business development deal that got pushed through and activated, and just having that
visibility.
Yeah, exactly.
I know some of my team over there, they do good vibes folders and stuff like that to pick them up, so definitely recommend that. I know I'm over time, but I'm going to take liberties. I'm going to finish this sentence. It's 1 minute, it's quick fire. Ellie, I am nervously excited about.
Oh, do I get nervously excited? I don't think I do.
Just excited about them.
I just get excited about opportunity. It's been a great year, and even though it's been a tough year, I'm excited about the opportunity for my business and for innovative business in general.
Perfect. Piper, I always start my day with
exercise and gratitude, and usually giving a compliment to my husband, because it makes me feel good to say something positive, and like maybe I'll say something back.
Katie, I still jump out of bed getting excited for...
Oh, well, I'm going to keep it relevant today. I'm excited for all the people hopefully we've inspired, and hopefully there's going to be some people going to ask for that promotion, start that business. So that's what I'm excited about.
Wonderful. Laura, if I wasn't the founder of Vertis, I'd love to run
a mentorship program. I'd like to work with young people and women.
I can connect you. I'm a trustee for a digital skills charity. We'll speak after.
Perfect.
They're here. Digi learning.
I'm going to mix it up with Ellie. I predict ...
Bloody hell, Jules. It's going to be the hard ones. What do I predict? I predict that the younger, so not even about Gen Z Alpha, so that's my daughter's age, like 13-year-olds. Gen Alpha, there will be more investment, there will be more female founders, there'll be more entrepreneurs. Gen Alpha are not going to muck about, and I'm super excited about what they're going to bring.
Yeah. Perfect. 2 last rounds. We're taking home, I promise. Piper, my secret sauce is?
My secret sauce is being kind. Just work hard and be kind.
Wonderful. Take us home, Katie. My biggest hope for the industry is?
To see more female founders. It has to be what it is, right?